Hi there. Today's preview is a very special one. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of the song and then I'll tell you a little bit more about what's up with this one. The song is called Family Bonds and it is off the upcoming album Soul Journeying. Thousands of miles away and I can still feel your pain. I try not to fall into the pattern, feeling I'm to blame. The distance between us feels like a chasm. On opposite sides we sit. I wanna reach out, but it feels like I might fall into the bottomless pit. Circumstances of life. So March 10th marks the 1-year anniversary of my mother's passing. So certainly a good day for reflection. And this song came to me last year when, as those of you who have aging parents or who have had to care for aging parents and who have had parents, one or both parents pass, you probably are familiar with the very common situation that when one passes, certain things start to deteriorate a little more quickly in the other parent. So, within a few months, my father, who was my mother's primary caregiver for many, many years, suddenly some of his faculties were starting to go downhill and he was starting to have a little bit more trouble caring for himself. And so the family decided for his own safety that we were going to move him out of his own house, living independently, and moving into the house of a sister. And of course, there's all sorts of challenges, there's all sorts of drama, there's all sorts of we can call them problems. I like to call them challenges. I was here in Brazil. And I sensed and also heard very directly that the folks who were there on the ground were doing a lot of work. And, there was this well, what am I doing? I'm off in Brazil living my fabulous life. And, I just don't have frankly, the money to just fly back and forth internationally whenever something happens that I need to be there for. And so I was trying to figure out a way, well, how can I support my family from a distance? Because, it just wasn't pragmatic. It wasn't realistic for me to go be there in person, even though, I have another sister who's also in another country, but they've got a stronger infrastructure than I do, and so she was able to go visit. But there's something they teach us in our shamanic training, which was very hard for me to grasp at first. But once I got it, I got it. So there's a book called The Field, which was one of our required readings. Oh my gosh, I'm spacing out on the name of the woman that wrote the book. But she studied... I think she started out as a journalist, and she studied the documentation of how people sense things happening across time and space. And so what she was able to sort of prove, which is what the shamans have known for centuries, is that we're all connected through the field. And so I can reach out to someone who's thousands of miles away with a very focused, dedicated act of intention. And it's what they teach us. Our skills as shamans are all about intention and imagination. And so I knew that there was some struggles going on, and I wanted to help, and I felt like I couldn't because I was thousands of miles away. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do whatever I think I know how to do. And so for about a week straight, I included my family, and in particular, the sisters that were in the most direct relationship with caring for my father, but also for my father, and just for the family in general. And I just, in my morning meditations, I just sent the intention of pure, unconditional, universal love from the heart center to whoever needed it in my family. Did that for about a week. And one of my sisters sent me a message. She said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because it's working. So it doesn't mean that everything is magically resolved, but it meant that she was feeling relief, she was feeling more clarity, she was feeling more strength. My father was feeling more acceptance. My father was not as combative about the whole process. And so turns out sending love and light is not nothing. Turns out it's everything. So this is dedicated to my family.